All right, what I'm going to make here is, it's been a mainstay for me my entire life. All my relatives made it, most of my friends' moms made it, everybody made it. And it's just greens, I guess an Italian version of greens. So I'm going to use escarole and Napa cabbage. And I remember my mom still calls it the same stuff, my aunts, everybody. But if you use an escarole, they call it Scadahl or Scadahl and beans. And if you're using other kinds of greens, they call it Minestra. I don't know why. I probably need to look that up and put it in the description of the video where that comes from. So anyway, here's some escarole greens I bought the other day, and if there's any real light stuff down in there in the middle, I'm going to save that out, not cook it in here, and save it for a salad, because I really like escarole. Is one of my two favorite lettuces. And so let me just get this started. So I'm just starting with a little bit of olive oil, and then I'm going to put sausages in there. You always want some kind of pork. I got some frozen ribs in there. I probably need to see if I can cut them and put them in here, because ribs are really good in this. Any kind of pork, but ribs, sausages, anything like that. And all I'm going to do is brown these sausages in here, and then they'll finish cooking in the broth, in the juice. All right, let me cut the cabbage first. And I got some cans of beans here. I got 1 can of Great Northern and 1 can of kidney beans. And that's pretty traditional for this dish. So if there's any bad ones on it, just peel them off. Or if there's a bad spot, you can just peel it off. This is pretty good cabbage. Let me cut it. The reason I'm cutting it lengthwise as opposed to across is because the part of it I'm going to, I don't know, tomorrow or the next day or whatever, this will last pretty good in the fridge. I'm going to saute it in olive oil and garlic in a frying pan, and maybe have it with some sausage or some other kind of piece of pork. So let me cut this little hard part out. One thing that most people do, I think even my mom, they throw the garlic in there now. I don't, because I've run into a problem in the past where when you put the greens in and you cut the heat way back, the garlic is still cooking in the oil, and when the garlic burns, it tastes absolutely awful. I don't know how some people get it to not burn, but when I do it that way, it burns. So I'll put half of the greens in, throw the garlic on top, throw the rest of the greens in, and then the garlic will cook down in the broth. And I find it works pretty good that way. And I'll let them sausages brown for a minute. And I'm just going to chuck in some crushed red pepper and some salt, but not a whole lot of salt, because sausages tend to be salty. So, you know. There ain't much to this dish. It's fast, well, not fast, but it's easy. It used to be one of the cheapest things. You could hear how loud that is from the salt. Used to be one of the cheapest things you could eat because of the greens. But now greens are getting, expensive. This is not one of the cheapest meals anymore. You get a fresh towel. So you get rid of any bad spots. which this doesn't really have any, surprisingly, but it still has to get washed. I need to throw an edge on this knife. Yeah, see, there's no light green in here. So it'll still make a good salad, but not, you know, not great. So I'm just going to use the whole thing in here. And then I'll get rid of the little bit of bad stuff on the bottom. And that took care of that. I need a bigger colander, which I happen to have right here. It's like a jumbo restaurant size. All right, so these are browned nicely. Let me try to tip that. So all this is just the olive oil, hot pepper, and the sausages that I just browned. And I think it's hot. You should be able to see that, but that's all that is. And you don't cut this up into really small pieces, because greens like this really sweat down and they shrink down to nothing. I mean, and then plus when, you know, you want a nice mouthful. So anyway, this is the cabbage going in. All I'm doing is just moving that around a little bit, getting some of the oil up onto the cabbage. That's all. Just kind of twirl it around a little bit. And that'll get covered here in a second. All right, I got some garlic chopped. Not super fine, but it's, you know, you don't have to go crazy with that. And chuck that in. Mix it around a little bit. Now in goes the Scadahl. Draining water all over my stove here. Oh, you should smell this already. It's good. All right, now a can of Great Northern beans, and that's the juice and all from the can, and then we're going to put a couple of cans of water in there and clean out these cans, and that's kidney beans. And like I said, we'll get some water. All right, 2 cans of water. Give that a little mix around. Now, this is all it looks like. I mean, it's just nothing to it. And then you'll see when it's ready, it'll be completely different. It'll be kind of like a soup. And then we'll cover it. And then come back in probably an hour. Maybe a little more. All right. Quite some time went by. I got stuck on the phone. So it's like 2 hours, but it's still wicked hot. So let's give this thing a try and see how it came out. I'll show you what this looks like so you know what to expect. Let me put that. All right, you remember how full it was. It cooked all the way down, and you could, it's just beautiful. I mean, it's, you know, it's kind of like a soup. Sausages are in there, everything's in there. So let's give it a try. Get some beans, piece of sausage. That's hot. All right, I don't know how that's showing up in this light. It's probably getting washed out. There's a LED light up hanging from the ceiling that washes everything out all the time. So this angle isn't that good. Maybe this. I don't know if that's better or not. So let me get a piece of bread. Like most of these kinds of dishes, one of my favorite part of it is dipping the bread in the juice. I just absolutely love that. So let's give this a try. It's really good. Could have used a little bit more salt. I'm not going to add any now because it's done, but it definitely could have used just a little bit more salt. But other than that, it's good. And this, that's the absolute best part, is that juice. And look how good the sausage is. I don't know if that showed up in the video. The sausage is cooked so good, just with a fork. You don't even need a knife. Look at that. I'm making a mess. I'll have to take a beard shower later. But there you go. Beans and greens, or Scadahl, or Minestra. Those are the three things we always called it. And it's, this is a good one. I've been eating this my entire life. This is a good one. I'd give it a try. If you're into greens, I'd give it a try.